There is a reason you became too nice. A reason you hold back your truth, soften your voice, and swallow your needs before they ever reach the surface. People assume kindness is a natural personality trait, but the deeper truth is far more complex. Being too nice is often a survival strategy built in childhood, a way your younger self learned to stay safe by becoming agreeable, quiet, and pleasing. Somewhere along the way, you discovered that your authentic emotions created tension. You learned that expressing anger made someone uncomfortable, that having needs made you feel like a burden, or that disagreeing with others triggered conflict you were not equipped to handle. So you adapted. You adjusted yourself to the emotional climate around you. You shaped your identity in response to someone else's instability. You became the peacekeeper. People-pleasing begins as protection. When you were young, you scanned the environment for signs of danger. You watched facial expressions, tones of voice, the silence between words. You learned to manage the moods of others before they erupted. You learned to be gentle, accommodating, and predictable. And this wasn't kindness. It was survival. The hidden shame behind being too nice comes from a deep belief that your true self is somehow unacceptable. That if you showed your full emotions, if you said what you truly felt, if you allowed your needs to matter, you would lose the love and connection you depended on. And this shame doesn't disappear just because you grow older. It hides under your generosity. It hides under your compliance. It hides under your softness. Over time, niceness becomes armor. You use it to maintain peace. You use it to avoid conflict. You use it to prevent rejection. But the cost is high. You begin abandoning yourself in small, almost invisible ways. You apologize for existing. You say yes while your whole body says no. You prioritize other people's comfort over your own truth. And slowly, you begin to disappear from your own life. What people don't see is the exhaustion underneath. The emotional labor you perform every day. The constant monitoring of other people's reactions. The fear that any misstep will make someone pull away. Your nervous system becomes hyper-attuned to others and disconnected from yourself. You become a caretaker for everyone but you. And deep inside, resentment grows. A quiet resentment that hides behind polite smiles. A resentment made of all the times you swallowed your boundaries, absorbed other people's emotions, or allowed situations that hurt you because you didn't know how to say no. This resentment is not cruelty. It is a signal. It is the voice of the self you abandoned asking to come home. There is also grief. Grief for the childhood you didn't get to have. Grief for the self-expression you never felt safe exploring. Grief for the needs you silenced so early you barely recognize them now. People think being too nice is harmless, but it carries a lifetime of unmet emotional needs buried under the surface. And because of that grief, you might find yourself drawn to people who take advantage of your kindness. Not because you want to be hurt, but because your nervous system confuses familiarity with safety. You recreate patterns that feel like home, even if those patterns diminish you. You bond with people who reinforce your role as the giver, the fixer, the stable one. But secretly, you long for someone to finally choose you back. Another layer of shame comes from your inability to say no. The simple act of declining a request triggers guilt, fear, and physical tension. Your body reacts as if danger is approaching, because in your history, disappointing someone meant emotional withdrawal or punishment. Even small boundaries feel like breaking ancient rules. The guilt you carry is not about the present moment. It belongs to the childhood version of you who thought love was conditional. You might also find yourself explaining everything. Over-explaining your feelings. Over-explaining your decisions. Over-explaining your boundaries. This habit develops when you feel like you don't have the right to take up space unless you justify it. Your worth becomes tied to how well you can make others comfortable. You start believing that your presence must be softened to be tolerated. But here is the truth many people never hear. Kindness without boundaries is not kindness. It is self-abandonment disguised as generosity. When you constantly suppress your truth, when you shrink your emotions, when you carry the emotional weight of everyone around you, you are not being good. You are being invisible. And invisibility always comes with a cost. And this is where the deeper layer of shame hides. Shame grows in the gap between who you are and who you pretend to be. You play the role of the calm one, the stable one, the one who never asks for too much. But inside, there is a self that has been silenced for years. A self that is tired of holding everything together. a self that wants to be held instead. Your mind learned a long time ago that authenticity was unsafe. So now, when you try to speak up, your body reacts before you can. Your throat tightens. Your heart races. Your stomach drops. These reactions are not weakness. They are memories. They are the echoes of every moment you learned that your truth came with consequences. If you look closely, you may also notice that being too nice has shaped your relationships in ways you never intended. You attract people who expect you to overgive. You stay in situations where your needs are invisible. You tolerate behaviors that slowly drain your spirit. And the longer you remain in the role of the pleaser, the harder it becomes to remember who you were before you learned to hide. Another hidden truth is that being too nice often goes hand in hand with loneliness. You can be surrounded by people and still feel unseen because no one has met the real you. They know the version of you that serves them, the version that always says yes, the version that never causes discomfort. But they do not know your depth, your boundaries, your desires, or your anger. And this creates a quiet, aching isolation. There is also the fatigue of emotional forecasting. You spend so much time anticipating other people's needs that your own become foreign. You lose the ability to sense what your body wants. You forget what joy feels like when it isn't tied to pleasing someone else. You become a mirror instead of a person. Healing begins with noticing your internal alarms. Notice when your body tightens as you agree to something you don't want. Notice when you smile, but your chest feels heavy. Notice when your voice softens to avoid disappointing someone. These are clues. These are the breadcrumbs leading you back to yourself. Healing also involves reconnecting with your anger. Not to explode, but to understand it. Anger shows you where your boundaries were crossed. It shows you what you've tolerated for too long. It shows you where your inner child wasn't protected. Your anger isn't a flaw. It's information. It's the map back to your needs. Another part of healing is learning to tolerate small amounts of discomfort. Because for someone who became too nice, discomfort feels dangerous. But it isn't. Discomfort is the birthplace of authenticity. Every time you sit with the uneasiness of saying no, every time you hold your boundary, even when someone pushes back, every time you choose your truth over harmony, you teach your nervous system a new story. And gradually, the shame begins to fade. The guilt loosens its grip. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop measuring your worth by your usefulness. You begin to see that you were never meant to live in the shadows of other people's comfort. You are allowed to disappoint people. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to have needs, emotions, and preferences. You are allowed to be fully human. You became too nice to survive. But survival is no longer your only option. You are allowed to exist now, fully and unapologetically. If this video helped you understand your deeper patterns, consider subscribing, liking, and sharing it with someone who might need these words. Your support helps this space grow and reach more people who are awakening, healing, and learning to come home to themselves. And when you're ready to explore the next layer of your shadow, there are more videos waiting for you here.